we have established quorum. Jamie, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Sure. Actually, I will go ahead and call roll if you want me to.
I'm sorry. Yes, and there's our Vice Mayor Meadows has joined us just now as well.
Absolutely. So I will go ahead and start with Commissioner Dixit.
Present.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Bedard.
Present.
Perfect. Chair Wheeler.
Here.
Commissioner Crane.
Here.
And Commissioner B is not
I
present.
can't, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
we
I
can.
can't hear you. What is, I'm not getting any sound from you.
Carol, oh, well,
Mhm.
I can't exactly tell her to.
They can hear me, but I can't hear them.
Can we
I
chat?
brought tech support in.
No, so unfortunately,
hear
we do
them?
not have
I
the.
can't hear them. See,
chat.
here
Can
they
you
are
mute
talking.
her? Can you
They can-
mute her, Casey?
So we don't have a chat function?
No, not for our public meetings. But
Hey,
can you
hello?
hear us?
We
Hello,
hear you. Hello?
Carol?
We'll get on the telephone with them. We'll sort it out.
Casey, can you mute her?
Okay.
But she doesn't know that, so she'll
Uh,
keep on muting herself. Can somebody text her?
I will. Hang on a minute.
Okay.
If
Thank
you
you,
have an
everyone.
established quorum, I was going to say you could stop, we could do a redo.
Yes. We will take just one moment while Chair Wheeler does the communication.
not muting. There
Carol,
she
can you
is.
hear us? No, I don't think it's, oh, okay. Well, we can establish, hopefully when she joins again, we'll be able to work through that. But we can go ahead and continue. We do have a quorum of 4 commissioners this evening.
So thank you, Jamie. Would you mind leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Absolutely. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jamie. Okay. I'm going to ask if there's any members of the public who have comments that are on items not on the agenda. Would they please raise their hand now?
We do not currently have any members of the public attending this meeting, and I will let you know if any appear.
Okay, Casey, thank you so much. Okay, at this time, we'd like to take up the minutes of the regular meeting of April 7th, 2022. Does anyone have any edits to those minutes? Here?
Hi, Chair, did I get the wrong package, or my package says it's the minutes are from March 3rd, 2022. I must have downloaded the wrong package.
Hang on a sec.
In the document, it says February 3rd, but in the title, it says March 3rd. I think. Or no, March 3rd.
Yeah, it says March 3rd. In the document I downloaded, that was the agenda and stuff for tonight, but maybe there was an update.
I'm sorry, just a second. I'm looking at my agenda.
I believe it's just the date that is
Yeah,
incorrect
that's
and
all.
we can
That's
adjust
the only
that.
thing. I just was sorry. That's all I was pointing out. I was just making sure it wasn't just me.
Okay,
Cool. Thank you.
whoops. Okay, can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I move with that correction that we approve
that-
the minutes.
Okay, thank you, Julie. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Casey, would you mind taking the vote?
Chair Wheeler,
Yes?
Commissioner
Yes.
Crane, Commissioner, Commissioner
Yes.
Bedard, and Commissioner
Yes.
Dixit. I have that unanimous.
And Casey, Cindy and Commissioner Carter are now on attendees.
Perfect. I will promote
And
them.
I have a feeling that the phone may be Carol as well. We may want to check.
Hi, Cindy.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Okay, I'm here. I'm hearing you through the phone.
Oh, okay. Whatever. That's
I
good.
don't know what this is all about.
No. Glad to have you, Commissioner Carter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All
Okay.
right.
We are now on item number 2 for consideration. This is a discussion of subcommittees. And so, Jamie, would you please explain the rules about subcommittees and voting to extend them, et cetera? Would appreciate it.
Absolutely. So there is some basic information in our commissioner and commission handbook, essentially that establishes subcommittees should not be ongoing, but a commission can vote or extend the use of a subcommittee if the work needs to continue. So that is absolutely what we, I think, have been doing with the formation of our work plan and selecting individuals, commissioners to serve on those various subcommittees. So it is what works for the commission. And as an example, I know we currently have 4 subcommittees. As an example, the senior commission, it actually has suggested that there be a formation of like 8 different subcommittees because there are different topics that they would like to cover. And I believe, Casey, you can correct me if my number is incorrect, but the Parks and Recreation Commission, I believe, has 9. Is that correct?
I think they do have 9.
And so one other clarification is that the maximum number of members, commissioners that can serve on a subcommittee is 3, specifically for the Library Commission, because it does need to be less than a quorum, which for us is 4 commissioners, but a subcommittee can also be 2 or 1. And so another clarifying point is that a subcommittee can have a very specific task. So in, as an example, leading into maybe your joint meeting with City Council, you could create a subcommittee with the specification of finalizing the presentation or finalizing the work plan. But once that project is complete, that subcommittee would then be complete. So with all of this in mind, the formation and creation of subcommittees should really represent the current projects that the commission would like to work on, and they can be created or completed depending on which projects and how long that work needs to be done. So I just wanted to provide that context with examples of other commissions so that the Library Commission can have a discussion on what subcommittees they would like to continue, discontinue, and how they would like to assign commissioners to those particular subcommittees. Happy to answer any questions or provide clarifying information. But that hopefully that will help with the discussion that the commission needs to have around subcommittees.
Wonderful. Okay, well, thank you for that clarifying information, Jamie. We appreciate it. And so we have 4 commissions at the moment. And I think, you know, I may be remiss in that Commissioner G, I thought was going to have to miss the June meeting due to a personal matter with an ill relative. But tonight this may be the commission meeting that he's missing as a result of that. He had to go out of country. So I'm sorry that he's not here for this discussion, but I did want to just let everyone know that he wasn't able to join. But at any rate, we do have a number of subcommittees that exist currently and have existed for a while. The infrastructure subcommittee has existed since I joined in 2019, as well as I think all of the subcommittees were created in that year and have existed for this 3-year period of time. I would like to just speak for that particular subcommittee and suggest that it continue because we certainly have a number of projects that are ongoing, one of which we will probably be able to wrap up rather within the next few months, which is the project to report on the orchard room and what it would take to divide it. The other project is the woodland expansion. And then another project within that is the mitigation of noise in the woodland library, which is a very specific project in building a soundproof wall to separate the adult section from the children's section. That we may have those figures shortly as well. Carol and Nelvin are both on that subcommittee. So I would like to propose that that subcommittee continue. And Carol, would you like to speak to the awareness subcommittee perhaps that you are on? Julie, would you like to speak to futures? And perhaps Pierre, you could speak to services? Carol, we can't hear you.
Mute.
There you go.
Hi, what did you want me to speak to?
The ongoing work of the awareness subcommittee.
Oh, well, we are primarily looking at the ads that Lolly pays for. And we have an ad that will be in the paper, I believe, next week. And it's about career preparation, videos that are available at the library. It's a very attractive ad. That's what we're doing.
And this is ongoing. We do an ad every month. And we meet with Bryant or Rose to talk about the ads and try to get them lined up for about 3 to 4 months out, depending on what the library's doing, what resources they want us to feature. Julie, would you like to talk about futures?
Yeah, I think the futures is an interesting one for us to discuss. We have, I think as a small team, we've enjoyed talking about sort of what the future of the library could be. It's not limited to reconstruction of a new library. We had talked about, utilizing, the Woodland Library is sort of a library of the future, and using it, since it's small, as an incubator for certain new technologies and new ways of thinking. And so that's really where out of that discussion came the idea of the 24/7 library. So that was really exciting, and given its small footprint, I think it's a unique place where we can try new technologies. So that was really the motive behind the futures. I do think a lot of us are passionate about a new library. I'm not sure that that's where that fits. But I think that there is value. I do have to say, in all honesty, that there's a lot of overlap. So when we talk about the 24/7 library, that then obviously implicates infrastructure. So then it has to go over to infrastructure. When we, so there's a little bit of overlap. So it's not like we can take something to fruition, we can vote on it, but then it seems to pass to somebody else. So I don't know if that's a hindrance, maybe a good thing, but I think it's something to talk about.
Pierre?
I'm not prepared to talk about the services subcommittee and try to justify it. I mean, other than what we've done and the stuff that we're continuing to do with drop-off boxes, meeting up with Bryant, looking at, maybe how VR is impacting things, looking at how the pandemic impacted us from a perspective of services. Honestly, 2 months ago, I really wanted to, I'm on, it's no secret I'm on this commission because I am passionate about building a new library and expansion of the library. And I really thought that services and futures should be merged together. Especially, I know that Nelvin's got a rough hoe, Nelvin has issues and had talked about sort of easing back, and which left essentially one person on futures. We were waiting for someone from the Hills to come down and join the group to staff it. Services is sort of an odd duck, because is it ongoing services? Is it new services? Is it services? It can be anything. So, I wouldn't mind taking a more futures approach to it, as I think I've always had, and looking towards that, if that has any influence on it in terms of the subcommittee itself. But it's a good subcommittee. It also keeps tabs on what's going on at the library, or it should, as you saw. I think the library is being the county's being very proactive, Steve, in getting feedback from the community at large and getting as real-time data as possible, which is something learned in the pandemic. And, I want to think that the commissions throughout the county influence that by pushing poor people like Brian and Stephen all the time. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on it, but I think it's healthy to talk about the subcommittees. I think they can be, this is my own perspective and not the commission. I really saw it as they can be anything you want to make them to be, in any way you can see fit, that where we add value somehow to the community, I think is worthwhile. And that's why I'm here. So I'm equal of Chair Wheeler either way.
Okay. Well, I think it would be maybe good to just take a vote and reaffirm, if this is what people want, to continue the existing subcommittees. But I also would like to take this opportunity to recognize that commissioners do have interests that they can pursue as a subcommittee of one. And I think, anyone who has an interest that they would like to pursue should propose, a subcommittee and, get the approval of the commission for them to be able to work on this a project, whatever it is that they would like to do as well. So I think that's an opportunity that I was certainly unaware of, and I appreciate, the information from Jamie to let us know that's an option. So Shari.
If, yeah, I need to unmute. If I could have a minute to say something, I wanted to add that as part of the awareness committee, we already have discussed one of the things that we started at the beginning of the year, which was the, to increase the footprint in the library. We suggested a calendar of displays that could happen. And that is also there if and when there is a need for it in the library. So the calendar of displays is what I was talking about, that, we have any special dates on a calendar, like the tomato throwing festival or something, we can help to pull out books or things that are related to that. And should the librarian ever wish to take advantage of that time or those resources, we are there to help. So that's one that we've already talked about and approved. If that ever needs to come into action, we have everything in place.
Fantastic.
And yeah, and so that is part of the awareness committee. Still, it could become a part of another subcommittee, which I could deal with alone. And we could call it increasing footprint subcommittee if we want to. The other question that I had raised in our last subcommittee meeting was about special projects. Like, I wanted to do a research on what kind of facilities, what kind of books, resources, services are available at the library for seniors, or it could be for ethnic minorities, or it could be for people who want to do something special, like a research on COVID or something like that. So if there is a need, I could make a subcommittee as and when needed for that. And because my interest is to do research.
Yes. Well, I mean, my understanding, Jamie, please correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that if you have a passion to do something and you want to suggest a subcommittee, then you should suggest it. And then the commission as a whole can say, yes, we support the formation of that subcommittee. And then anybody up to a maximum of 3 people could populate that subcommittee.
Right.
But
at this point, it's just too small to be considered a subcommittee. I would think that whatever I'm trying to do is part of awareness still.
Okay, but if you do have something that develops into a bigger idea that you want to propose, then we're free now to be able to do that.
Thank you.
And Jamie? Yes.
The one thing I wanted to just a perspective is the subcommittees that the library has formed are quite comprehensive. And what I mean by that is that they have quite large umbrellas. And so as Commissioner Dixit kind of verbalized, is that there are a lot of smaller components that when you look at the larger category could be rolled up into awareness as an example. But it could be, and I just wanted to provide this distinction, that a subcommittee could get as granular as redevelopment of the library. And so, it can be very project specific, or could be something larger that has various components. And so I think another example I can provide is with the Parks and Rec Commission. They had a very specific subcommittee on looking at a skate park. That is a very specific type of facility that they were looking at. But that could be if they wanted to be more general, could have looked at either park amenities or things of that nature. So just wanted to provide that distinction that you can go broad or you can go granular at the project level.
Pierre?
What I was going to say is that in many cases, I mean, for God's sakes, I put up a website with all the library data on it for a while when I was chair, sort of for awareness, right? It almost came this close to getting on the city website, and then Trevor left, Jamie. But anyway, but that's awareness. I've talked to Mid-Peninsula Post, too extensively. So there's a lot of things that we do as commissioners that definitely overlap. On the services, I know for a fact there's lots of catalogs that exist for the services you're looking for, Commissioner Dixit, that you can extrapolate with the senior services. But Bryant, I'm sure, has it all. But in any case, my point is we all want to do, I think it's important not to stop ourselves from special projects. As Jamie says, and I think Chair Wheeler, if we do have a passion, obviously building a new library, you just don't stand up and say, hey, it's me. But on other projects that have impact on the community, and the stuff we've done has, it's good stuff. Like the drop boxes.
Definitely. Okay. Well, should we maybe take a vote to continue the existing subcommittees? Casey, I'll just make a motion that the Library Commission will continue the existing subcommittees, the Future Subcommittee, Services Subcommittee, Awareness Subcommittee, and Infrastructure Subcommittee, at least until the end of this term, which is September 2023, at which time we can revisit the subject.
Okay, and do we have a second? Pierre?
I'll second it, but I was going to say I think it's 2022. The term ends in 2022. Am I right?
Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
The roll call for that, Chair Wheeler,
Yes.
Commissioner Crane,
Yes.
Commissioner Carter,
Yes.
and Commissioner Dixit.
Yes.
I have that vote as unanimous as well.
Oh,
Did
I
you
think you
call
might
Pierre?
have forgotten Commissioner Bedard.
Oh, I'm sorry, but Commissioner Bedard.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So now we should go to the informational items, and the first person is Cindy with a report on the North County Library Authority. Welcome, Cindy.
Hello, everyone, and good evening. NCLA is right now determining where and when we can have our next meeting. We're hoping to do it in May. It is very difficult to get 5 people together, primarily because 3 of them are council members and they have extremely busy schedules. But Angel Rodriguez, who is our city liaison, is working with that. And so we expect to have one in May. It could be May 19th. And as soon as that's determined, I will let you all know. And we have 2 topics on the agenda right now. One is the Library Commission's proposal and presentation. And the second one is looking at any money that NCLA might have when the term of the tax parcel tax runs out. And it looks like we'll have a few million dollars, just a few $1 million here and there. So we're looking at, there's some ideas of how that money can be used for the building or for the library. So that's my report at this point.
Does anyone have any questions? Does any of the commissioners have any questions?
I do have one. Okay. Pierre.
Sorry, I was going to ask, it's from a Brown Act perspective, is it okay if we show up in force for the NCLA presentation? I
Of
guess I have
course.
questions for Jamie.
It's one person would most likely present, and then if we needed additional information that only other people in the audience can provide, we can call on them that way.
Oh, I just meant to be a good public, that's all.
Absolutely, yeah. The other thing I wanted to let you know is that we have city support with Angel, and his area of responsibility is pulling the meetings together and pulling the agenda together. And then we are also looking for somebody as a paid person to do all of the document preparation and working with various agencies to get us the information that we need, for instance, with our fund account. So there's a division of labor there, and we're moving slowly on identifying that individual. We used to have Marcy, and if I could get Marcy back, I would in a heartbeat. So I'm looking to talk to her about that, or somebody like Marcy. Those of you that have ever gone to an NCLA meeting in the last couple of years will know how well she packages all of our information.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know if a new parcel tax is being contemplated to go on the ballot at any point?
No, at this point, it's not, because our parcel tax does not expire until 2030.
Okay.
And since we have extra money right now, it doesn't make sense to ask for more money. And given the
What kind of a
economy.
politician are you?
I know.
Sorry,
I know.
couldn't resist.
That's why I'm on this side of the fence. But yes, so at this point, no, but we have talked about it. Would it be something to stop this parcel tax and go for a new, go for a vote to have a new parcel tax with a specific target in mind of what we would do with that funds, with the idea of, if that parcel tax was approved by the voters, then the current parcel tax would stop. So, and then we would have new dates for that. So that has been discussed in the last year or so.
Okay.
In fact, we discussed it in relationship to a new library redevelopment project.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay. So I don't see Elaine on the call tonight. Yeah, Jamie?
So yep, Elaine is unable to attend tonight, but she actually did send in some brief bullets that she provided to us ahead of time. So I'm happy to share her update on her behalf.
That would be great. And could I just check, Casey, there's still no members of the public?
We do still have, or we do have a phone number that came on at about the same time as Commissioner Carter, but they have not raised their hand at any point.
Actually, Casey, I believe that's actually how Commissioner Carter is being able to hear us.
That is how I am on. I'm listening to you on the phone.
All right. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. All right. Please go ahead, Jamie. Thank you.
Absolutely. So the Friends are having their next book sale, and that will be May 20th, 21st, and 22nd at the Los Altos Youth Center, otherwise known as Lacey, and in combination with the Orchard Room at the library. And they also, she didn't share the photo, but basically she said the shed is almost totally full 3 weeks before the sale. So they are really excited to have that sale come up. Let's see, they're currently going through all of the books, and they've pulled out books obviously for their online sales, and will take obviously the best condition books that will go into the ongoing sale inside the library. But they really are just trying to get through all of the books that have been donated up to this point. And it said that that this past week, a donation came in with a record of 100 boxes. So I can only imagine how many books that really equates to.
Wow.
But they have their hands full with trying to sort and obviously distribute that to the appropriate channels in which they recycle the books. They're also planning to move out of the corral in the library after the May sale. And the city has offered use of Lacey in the interim until the new space inside the library is complete sometime in July. So we are currently working through that transition phase until they can be in their new space. At the moment, myself and Mary Jo have been working with Elaine and the Friends on their request to have their August sale in the community center that is slated at the moment to go in front of council for their fee waiver at the end of May. So it's slated for the May 24th meeting. And so that one will specifically focus just on the August book sale. And then by the time of this meeting, they're actually looking to, switching gears, they're looking to have their board approve their recommendations for next year's committees and officers and committee chairs. So their annual meeting is planned for the History Museum on the patio, June 26th at 5 p.m. So I can send that information out via email so that all the commissioners, if they're interested, have that information. And in the past, this particular meeting is going to be a potluck dinner where the friends provide a main course and guests should either bring a salad or dessert to share. There's usually a lot of variety of food at the annual meeting. And the main agenda item will actually be awarding aprons to our new super friends and obviously their election. So they're extending an invitation to the Library Commission if they're interested in attending. And that was everything in Elaine's report.
Thank you, Jamie. Maybe Steve and Bryant, you could update us on the construction of the space in the library for the Friends, how that's coming along.
Well, I can comment on what we're doing right now, as I'm not as in touch with the contract parts of it, but we have started shifting the collection in adult nonfiction in order to make room for the needed space to build the walls to create the room. And we are taking a look at how we can rearrange our current kind of different workspaces to make more sense in terms of how people use the space and where they can get help directly from librarians. And that's a plan that once I've had the chance to talk to all our folks who deal with infrastructure, if it is workable, I will be happy to present to the Library Commission.
Oh, thank you, Brian. Steve?
Yeah, so we are working with a contractor. We're finalizing some details. We hope to have that finished pretty soon. And once that's done, we can move pretty quickly, we feel. And then Brian didn't mention this, but we are working on some additional furniture and other items to kind of make that space that they're vacating much more user-friendly. So we're kind of looking at some options there, and we should have some more information on that shortly.
Wonderful. So the July date for them to move back in looks like it's a go?
Yeah, right. As of now, we feel like that's still a workable date, but we'll let you know if that changes.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, do you have any other questions? Yes. Questions?
I don't have any.
I'm sorry.
Really quick, I just wanted to say what a great job Bryant and his team are doing, though. They're being really thoughtful about those spaces, and I know when they're all done with it, it's going to look great.
Great. Pierre?
This has been an issue since I joined the commission, and I got to say, you guys are working in tandem with Elaine, getting things done and moving, and it's huge. I mean, it's a big deal to the city. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on to the next item under informational items, which is an update on Lolly from Cindy.
Hello again. So Lolly meets on May 10th, which is next Tuesday at 8 a.m. I have to always think about how early that is. And some of the highlights that we will be talking about is the Silicon Valley Reads program has ended. And today we had a recap of it. The Silicon Valley Reads committee had a recap. And there were over 10,000 participants across the system. There were 140 plus events. There were 33% new participants, and it was carryover of the budget going into 2023 because we did not have to pay for travel for the authors because so much of it was done virtually. And one of our authors actually she lives locally, so it was a very easy drive for her over to Sunnyvale. Every speaker was given a stipend, and Richard Louie asked that his stipend be used to purchase his books to give away free for the people that were at his event. And I actually received one of them, which was fantastic. So if anybody wants to have it, you are welcome to it. It was quite a good read. I really appreciate it, but I've hung on to it because I just quite didn't know what to do with it. And then some of the challenges that they brought up is that there were 13,000 people in 2021 that watched Silicon Valley Reads in Zoom. But what they did notice is that the website views and the Zoom attendance in 2022 was down by about 30%. And the reasons people gave were Zoom fatigue and that people were going out and about. And so they didn't need another in-house event to attend, that they were attending external events or they were just tired and just didn't need to have that kind of entertainment. However, so that's the kind of the challenge, but in the surveys, they received an 83% good or very good satisfaction rating. And 86% of the people who returned the survey said they wanted to have a virtual option. So even though the statistics went down, the request to stay virtual or to have it as a choice was quite high. Next year, 2023, is Silicon Valley Reads 20th anniversary. And so they are looking to have kind of a celebration about that 20 years, and they're looking for ideas of what can they do. And let's see. Yeah, so how can we draw across the 20 years of themes? What have been the societal changes and how has Silicon Valley Reads mapped to those societal changes? And so lots of ideas are coming out and more to come with that. And the reason why I bring up Silicon Valley Reads under the Lolly umbrella is that Lolly financially sponsors Silicon Valley Reads. This year we sponsored them at $7,000, which is one of their higher donors. So it's important for us to pay attention to what Silicon Valley Reads is doing and how it influences and impacts our community, the Los Altos and Los Altos Hills. Going on to another event, this month we have Speaking Volumes that Lolly hosts, and that is going to be a virtual event. And this is the author, and she writes a lot of historical fiction. I think she's written about 8 books. I'm on number 3 right now. She lives in Palo Alto, and she has lived probably most of her life in Palo Alto. She's a former attorney turned author as one of her things to do. So quite interesting reads. I've really enjoyed them. 3 of them have been around World War II and set in Europe. The last one I just read was about the orphans coming out of Germany and getting transported to various countries. And since they're historical fiction, they're based on fact, but of course with the fiction to keep it entertaining and interesting. And we have put out to bid to have our website and our branding updated. The bids are due. We sent them out to 3 potential suppliers, and they are due, I think, next week. And then the board will take a look at them. After the subcommittee takes a look, then the board will take a look and see what we want to do. I also wanted to bring it to your attention that while we have our major financial donor event that goes from November through December, that's where we get the biggest donations. Throughout the year, we also get donations, and we've recently been getting donations through Benevity because people have put it into their trusts that this is what they want to have happen. And some of them are small dollars amount and some of them are quite large, but it's very interesting to see where the money's coming from and how often it's coming from people. And speaking of donations, last month I did mention that we have a potential donor interested in contributing $500,000 to the library through Lolly, if that makes sense. And right now we talked with the city manager, Gabe, about what are the logistics of this, and Jennifer Weeks has been involved, Lolly, and so and also the donors. So now we're looking at the donor would really like to have the money used before his parents pass away because it's under his parents' name. They gave $500,000 to the Milpitas Elementary School library. And we think that that's the public library that they did it to because the school and the library are closely attached. And this, I think, was a few years ago. So they'd like to see something started at least before they pass away. So Gabe and Jennifer have come up with some really interesting ideas. And now we're going to be speaking again with the donor to see what his thoughts are about that going forward. So, and Jennifer definitely has all of the Library Commission's ideas in her mind. So both externally and internally, in the building and outside the building. And that's one of the reasons why we brought in Gabe, because he can look at the external potential. Gabe is so on board. He really, it's been very interesting talking with him. He's very much a library person and wanting to make sure our library represents our communities quite well. We're also looking at, in the fall, we host a donor appreciation evening, which we tie in with the library's Science and Technology Week. And we get a speaker that talks on a science or technology topic or medicine or anything in that area. And so we've started the planning for that. And I will keep you posted on that because those actually draw a lot of people. And it's a really interesting mix. There was one speaker, and I can't remember who it was, but that speaker drew in all ages, including children under 10. So it was just an amazing event. Also wanted to let you know that there is bubbling renewal and bubbling recurring interest in the building and fundraising. And since I've been involved with that for a number of years and I'm on the Lolly board, people have been letting me know that they're still interested. And there was a fundraising group and they've raised their hand to say, we're ready to do this again, if and when you all are ready. So just wanted to keep that in mind for people. As a side note, a couple of weeks ago, don't ask me why, but I had an evening free and I decided to virtually attend the Menlo Park Library Commission meeting. I wanted to see what it was like. I wanted to see if there was anything I could pull from that for my Lolly experience in NCLA. And it was a very interesting meeting, the way it's structured, the topics. I came in a little bit late and they were talking about the new library that they are building right now and all the things that are tied in with it. And I thought, I need to go back and read their minutes and see what their process has been. It was just a fascinating meeting. So I recommend that my board and the Library Commission visit other libraries for their commission meetings, listen in on them, both in our district and then outside of our district, because there's so much to learn. It was just a great, I'm such a library nerd. It was such a great way to spend an evening. So any questions?
Thank you, Cindy.
You're welcome.
I have a question. Do you think that the donor event in the fall will be in person?
That's one of the things that we need to discuss, and I think the answer is going to be yes. And that we would like to do it the way we have done it, which is to use the History Museum's outdoor area for an hors d'oeuvre type of thing. And then we walk them over to the community room and have our presentation and our conversation and discussion.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioners, any questions? Steve or Brian, I don't mean to leave you out when I ask for questions. If you have any, please.
I don't have a question, but Cindy, wow, that is hardcore. Attending other library commissions.
I need to get a life.
Funny.
So, so it doesn't start with loser library.
Absolutely not.
Just the
I was
dynamics are just.
I was saying that admiringly.
Yeah, exactly. What you described was really wonderful.
Thank you.
And it's a great idea, you know?
Well, especially because they're virtual.
Yeah, what a great idea. Okay. So in that case, we'll go on to our reports. And Steve, if you would, provide us the Santa Clara County Library District report.
Sure, thank you. I don't have any slides this time, so I'm just gonna go over some highlights of the agenda. Hopefully you can all see the notes in your packets. May is the month of many things, actually. So it's Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. It is also Mental Health Awareness Month. There's of course a holiday with Mother's Day and so many things going on. Be sure to check out the library's website for lots of crafts ideas and book lists. And just a reminder that we have the Headspace app, going back to mental health awareness. We have the Headspace app for mental health. So be sure to check out all the great resources we have available online. Summer reading is upon us yet again. It's hard to believe it's already May, but June 1st is just around the corner and we're getting ready. So this year it's Read Beyond the Beaten Path. That's the theme for summer reading this year. And with that, we have some exciting passes that we can get from state parks. I don't know if you've seen that. So this is for parking passes. And I'll tell you already, the service is being used pretty heavily. So if you do try to use it, you're going to be put on the very long wait list, but we're trying to get more passes and we'll hopefully have those soon. Our South County libraries, Morgan Hill and Gilroy, also have some backpacks as part of another initiative with our local parks. Those are our county parks. So if you have an interest in that, stay tuned. We have digital coaching classes going on in Milpitas and Gilroy. So this is an opportunity for those who need a little bit of extra assistance to get help on their devices and in a variety of languages. Again, that's at Milpitas and Gilroy, but those are pilot projects that we might roll out to other locations if we find it to be successful and of interest. Next up, if you wanted to see what other libraries are doing, Cupertino Library just underwent an expansion in their community room, and it is a beautiful space. Hopefully you'll get a chance to go out there at some point and take a look in person, because virtually just won't cut it. So you can see they have 2 levels of community room spaces now. One of them opens up into the courtyard, so it's a very wide open space, and in the summertime it'll be a great way to get some fresh air while watching a program. But be sure to get out there if you can. And also, and finally, this first week of May is National Small Business Week. So we do have a partnership with SCORE, Silicon Valley, to offer some online courses. Should I start a small business? Understanding credit and how to improve your credit score. And finally, using Google My Business to boost your SEO. So if you know any budding entrepreneurs out there, please be sure to tell them about those programs as well. And I believe that's all I have for May. So thank you very much. And I'll take any questions if you have any.
Steve, do you want to talk about the town halls you're doing? There's one left, Saturday at 10 a.m. If any of the commissioners haven't had the opportunity to attend, It's in your packet. You have to register. And Steve, would you like to just talk a little bit about what you're doing with that? This is part of your survey and feedback program.
You did a great job, Freddie. You cover almost all of it. So I'll just add, so it's part of our strategic planning process. We are having work with constructive disruption, excuse me. And they have been organizing some virtual town halls that our community members can join and just give some feedback on what they see the library is doing and what we can be doing in the future to kind of help inform that strategic planning process. So as Freddie mentioned, the next one is Saturday, May 7th at 10 a.m. It's a Zoom town hall, so you can register online, join online, and they'll have some questions they'll ask you, and there's breakout rooms, and you can provide a little feedback as to how you see the library directing its resources in the future. So thank you for reminding me of that, Freddie.
Oh, sure. I did the town hall yesterday evening, and it was very interesting. And it gives you an opportunity to collaborate in your breakout rooms with other people from all over the district. So I found it very, very interesting. There's also a poll, and I'm sure you want our feedback, Steve.
Of course I do.
So if you haven't had a chance to take the poll, that's another thing that we can do to help provide input to the district. But okay, any questions? Okay, Bryant.
I do believe I'm next. Good evening, everyone. Let me see if I can pull up my slides successfully. Are you guys seeing that?
Yes.
I hear a yes. I will move forward. From beginning. Fingers crossed. Yay, it's working. Okay, May report. I thought the Maze was a great theme for us this month as we are trying to navigate our way back to in-person programs and doing more outreach in the community. And I tell you, it is a maze to try to figure this out. The usual number report outs. In March, we had 43,485 folks, items checked out from Los Altos Library. So a bit of a bump since the drop that we've been seeing in the past few months, which we were very happy to see. Woodland Branch Library had 7,031 items checked out. Returning items was at 42,087 at Los Altos and 8,804 at Woodland. People that engage with us online, we had 9,174 at Los Altos, and Woodland Branch, we saw 1,569 card users take advantage of our online resources. And of course, the librarian favorite, the people we actually talked to and helped in buildings. In March, we had 8,373 folks come through Los Altos and 1,788 at Woodland Branch. So again, that nice little bump that we saw from the dip from previous months. I apologize for not having photos as the people were a little bit camera shy. I'll try to convince them to see if I can get a mugshot of them. But we do have some new and returning faces at Los Altos. Sylvia Wu is our near library intern. She just recently started with us, very excited to get on the path to becoming a librarian, and she's very curious and wants to try and experience everything that we do. So we're very glad to have her on board. We poached Allison Lee from Cupertino Library to help us fill a gap we have in the children's department. So she's temporarily working out of class, similar to what I'm doing as a children's librarian. So you'll see her wandering about in the library, helping out folks as well. From disaster service, we've had 2 staff members return to us. Jamie Cruz just returned to us yesterday. She's a page at the Woodland Branch Library. And I'm very happy to report that Sarah Neary was also released. So we're getting our teen librarian back next week. So very, very excited to see our staff members return. And if memory serves, I think we only have 1 individual left out on disaster service, and hopefully we'll get her back as soon as well. I think Steve already mentioned that the month of May has had many, many, many topics, but 2 of the ones that we will be focusing on is, of course, AAPI month and mental health awareness. So you will be seeing book displays around the library during the month of May on these topics, and a few programs floating around targeting these themes. Some of the things that are happening at our location, story time is still outdoors in the month of May. So it's every Tuesday at 10:15 a.m. Outside, basically behind the patio area of the History Museum. So a big thanks to them for allowing us to continue that. And we will be transitioning in June, July back into inside the building. So there'll be a time period where I think we'll be doing a hybrid of making it available both outside and inside for folks who may not be fully comfortable, but we're eventually going to transition back to what we were doing before the pandemic, which is inside our buildings. Slime and meditation for the kiddos on May 11th. They get to come in and do a craft, and hopefully we'll be able to calm them down before their parents take them home for dinner and bed. We had the Furry Friends come in last month, a very, very popular program on Saturday. I believe they had 2 dogs and a cat. I've never seen the cat before, so that was an interesting one. And we'll be repeating that on May 28th, again, 2:30. So for anyone with, with a child in your life that seems to be a reluctant reader, I highly encourage you to bring them by the library. Again, sometimes all it takes is just that one spark, that one push, and you got a lifelong reader on your hands. We also have a craft kit for the kids. This actually started off in the teens and adults section, I believe last summer when we put it out, and it was quite popular. But when we were talking to the folks who were taking it, they were like, "Oh, I'm bringing it for my grandkid. I'm bringing it for my child." So I was like, okay, so still mainly an interest from the kids side audience. So we recommended it to our colleagues in the J department, and they've decided to replicate it this month. So if you are interested, do drop by the children's desk at Woodland or Los Altos and pick a kit for the kiddo in your life. Those are going to be there until, well, we run out of supplies. That's how these things work. On the adult side, I only have 2 that I wanted to really highlight. Speaking Volumes, of course, was already mentioned by Cindy, and big thanks to them for bringing in Meg White Clayton. It will be done virtually. So for folks who are interested, you can sign up and you'll get the usual Zoom link, and we'll make sure to coordinate and have a good evening for everybody involved. On May 24th, we are doing an in-person film screening of To Climb a Gold Mountain. This is a very, very interesting documentary that explores kind of the Asian American experience in the form of following these 4 women and their experience coming to America. And I believe we do have one of the, not the director, but someone involved with creating this film will be here in order to be able to facilitate a discussion with folks afterwards to learn more about the behind the scenes and kind of how they got around to doing this film. So for anyone interested in that, we will be screening that in person on May 24th at 6:30 p.m. Some of the outreach we did in April, I got some photos here. We had 2 Easter events. On the 9th, we went down to downtown Los Altos for their Easter egg hunt. On the 16th, we visited the community center for their Bunny Bound event, both very, very popular with the kids. And on the 24th, we went up to Los Altos Hills for an event, for an Earth Day event, which again, very, very popular. Unfortunately, we were unable to bring the GoGo Biblio up to the Earth Day event as the incline is a bit dangerous for our staff to be taking the vehicle up, but they were able to bring tables and hand out flyers and really chat with folks and let them know what's going on at the library. We've got some planned outings in May. In fact, we have some staff who are still out at this moment at Farmers Market, as it doesn't end until 8 p.m. So we'll be going out every other week to the Farmers Market event through October when they have Farmers Market. We plan on attending the Pet Parade on the 14th, and we've got some school visits lined up on the 6th is one of them, and we've got a few others in the pipe. I think that's it from me. Did anyone have any questions? Why is everything small? No, I need to stop sharing. That's what I need to do. Here we go. No, I'm off the hook. Okay.
Thank you, Brian. Much appreciated. So I'm not sure if I have the most up-to-date agenda, but Vice Mayor Meadows, we had asked for a presentation on the survey results, but she did let me know that they have reviewed the results, but because they haven't been made public, she would like to defer. Vice Mayor Meadows, please.
That is correct, Chair Wheeler. So what I will say is that there's an informational item on the agenda for next Tuesday's meeting. The information or the report has not been uploaded. Well, I haven't checked today, but it's still waiting for the report, but any day now, probably by tomorrow, the informational item talking about the survey results will be uploaded for council's meeting. So I would check the May 10th packet probably tomorrow and expect to see something there. And I can't really talk about it yet since it's not even uploaded. At least if it was there, then that would be public information. But so far, again, the caveat, last time I looked at the packet, it was not in there. So the report should be available for anyone to read. Sorry to be so cryptic.
No, we understand.
Yeah, so, but you'll all be able to read it within the next day or two. And then I could, next month, if there's questions, I haven't actually seen the report. I've just, within the subcommittee, we talked about the fact that Gabe would be putting the report in. Until I see that, and then, so next month I could potentially be on the agenda unless it's all self-explanatory and we're crystal clear. Sorry, that is not very information sharing, but that's best I can do tonight. So
No, we absolutely understand, and thank you very much. And so we can all take a look at it, and then if we have questions, I will reach out and ask if you would mind being on the agenda to discuss it at our next meeting.
right, and I'll just plan on that, and then if you don't need me, that's fine. But if there are any questions, but I mean, I actually haven't seen the report. I mean, I have an idea of the results, but we'll have to see how it's phrased. And council doesn't have that yet either. So we're all going to get it at the same time, probably tomorrow. So we'll see what it says.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Chair Wheeler.
Okay. Okay, so now we have the city staff update. Jamie, would you like to update us, please?
Absolutely. And just a moment before I go into the report, after I give my update, I might suggest that we adjust. They got a little bit out of order, but obviously future agenda items should be at the very, very end. So I do suggest that obviously the two reports that we got and then the other subcommittees could give their reports, which might inform maybe future agenda items. So just wanted to highlight that. The first one I wanted to highlight is that we did have Andrea Chalamangos, who was our city clerk. She did retire. Her last day in the office was April 28th. And so the main point in bringing that up is that we do have an interim city clerk. Angel Rodriguez is filling that role until they find a replacement. So he was the deputy city clerk. So he is familiar with the process, but he is getting acclimated into his new role as the interim city clerk. But obviously myself, Casey, we are here to be resources and support should any questions come up in regards to the commission. The next one, which you saw several emails to streamline the process to receive public comment. And this is actually something the city is implementing for all of the commissions and city council. There is a single email that a member of the public can email, which will automate the process to then distribute that email to the commission. And so the Library Commission, and you probably saw that in the header of our agenda, it is LC, which stands for Library Commission. public comment at losaltosca.gov. So again, that mechanism has been implemented for all of the commissions. And by the test that we sent out, we realized at the beginning that it was not live yet. So we'll be testing that again, and we think we have it figured out. But the main point I wanted to highlight is that you will occasionally, obviously all city emails have just software in place to filter out spam, phishing emails, things of that nature. And so occasionally commissioners may receive a quarantine email. Just know that you can disregard it. City staff will look and review those emails. So, if it is a phishing email, will remain in quarantine, but occasionally there might be an email that is suspicious, but it is actually a public comment. City staff will then take it out of quarantine and make sure that it is distributed accordingly. But just wanted to bring a heads up and awareness that you may see that kind of email come through quarantine wise. Yes, Chair Wheeler.
Can I just ask you what that looks like? How do we tell what a quarantine email looks like?
Absolutely. I actually received several, so I can forward a sample, a screenshot of what that looks like so that the commission is aware of what that might look like should it come through. So we'll make sure to send a visual of what to be on the lookout for. And again, those can just be disregarded by the commission.
They'll always, they can just go in the trash.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
The next one is this. You probably noticed we updated that we would be adjusting to Zoom, and we're still on Ring Central, but it's because we just got all of the information to launch Zoom, and staff hasn't had a chance to fine tune all the settings. So I am happy to report we have that. We're testing everything, and our very next meeting for June will be on Zoom. So I know I will just be completely honest, Ring Central has had some quirks and challenges. So many individuals are just much more comfortable with Zoom. So we're very excited to make that transition, and that will be for June. So I'm happy to update, but this will be the last one on Ring Central. So I'm not sure how everyone else feels, but I know I've heard specifically with our senior commission, they were really excited to make that adjustment. Commissioner Bedard?
Hi, thank you, Jamie. My question is, okay, we're going to Zoom, but for how long until we meet live?
No, great question. Absolutely. So they're currently looking at what that timeline will be. We have not been updated yet on when we're looking potentially, and that is something that we will be agendizing actually for the June meeting. And I will only say this because the senior commission had their joint meeting with City Council actually Tuesday of this week. And so City Council has asked that all the commissions provide feedback on, would you like to return back into in person? Would hybrid be helpful? Would you like to remain virtual? I think they're looking to get feedback to take that into consideration as they work through what that timeline would be. So we will be agendizing that for the June meeting for senior commission, but for all the other commissions as well, so that we can get feedback from the commission.
Sharvari, you have a question?
I just have a question. What happens if let's say if I prefer only the hybrid variety? What happens? Do we have the bandwidth to have a hybrid meeting available every time?
So that is absolutely something that we are going to look at. And I think it would be helpful to know the feedback from the commissions and the commissioners. So absolutely, when we are able to agendize that for discussion, we will absolutely take all of that feedback and put it into the consideration of city staff.
Thank you.
Jamie, could
Yeah.
I ask on this very same topic? When we agendize this next meeting, could you give us an idea of what does a hybrid meeting look like? You know, what would that mean? Okay.
No, absolutely. That is a broad yet detailed, just because I've not at the commission level, but I have done other types of hybrid meetings. And so that could mean different things for a large meeting like city council versus maybe a smaller meeting like our senior commission. So there might be different components, but once we get some more details on the staff side, we can definitely share that.
That would be very helpful, because it would be hard for us to, you know, say what we want if we have no idea how a hybrid meeting would take place.
Sure.
I understand it's kind of, people are still trying to figure out how to do it, so.
Mhm,
But
absolutely.
anyway, that would be really helpful if you could do that. Give us some idea. Okay.
Sure. And then the last one that I have is just a follow-up. We actually, and Bryant showed a very lovely picture, but we did have our Bunny Bound event, which is our spring event at the community center on Saturday, April 16th, from 9 to 2. And it was wonderful to have the library staff provide some arts and crafts. And we're very happy that we served over 200 families that day during that 9 to 2 timeframe. And it was a very safe, well-attended event. And a big thanks to the Friends of the Library, who actually sponsored the goodie bags and a few of our raffle prizes. So we were very thankful for that partnership and to help make our free event to the community a success. So big thank you to them. And we've obviously extended that to Elaine and the Friends. But then the final one is, again, our classes and information is on our city website. And so we're continuing to take registration for some of our summer camps. And obviously we're continuing with our spring classes. So if you are interested, that information is on our city website and available for registration if anything is of interest. But that concludes my report, and happy to take any additional questions that the commissioners may have.
Thank you, Jamie. Any questions, commissioners? Okay, thank you. So we will, as you suggested, we'll move item number 10 down to the bottom of the agenda, and we'll take reports from the subcommittees at this time. I can provide the report on the infrastructure subcommittee. Melvin has been doing a lot of work on the foldable partition project and has the quotes from the vendors. Also got an estimate of the construction costs to modify the orchard room to accept the foldable partitions of about $50,000. When we finalize this information, we want to just wrap it up in a package as a proposal for consideration by the Los Altos Library, and then of course the district, as to whether or not it makes sense. And that would be something that they would look at. I know Bryant is working to help us get some data on how many meetings were held and what number of participants, so that we could see or make some guesses and estimates as to whether or not the room, we could have additional classes or events if we were able to divide the room, and whether or not there would be enough demand for those events. The next steps are all in the proposal. One thing I did want to ask while Steve and Bryant are on the meeting with us, the architect that came in to look at the Friends space, Bryant let us know that he went over and looked at the orchard room. Steve, did he have any, or Brian, did he have any information, numbers, drawings, anything to add to the project?
I believe something was forwarded to Chuck. I was given the numbers estimate and kind of the kind of other possible situations we may run into as if they were to move forward the project, again with questions about the beam over the ceiling, whether that's available, and if it is, that would reduce cost, things like that. But I imagine Chuck may have something like that if you're looking for more details about what Alex actually kind of, I guess, sketched out.
If you wouldn't mind being able to, see if you could get get that from Chuck and share it with us, we could just add it to our report. Okay. The other thing that we're working on is Carol's son, Craig, had a visit. He's an architect. He visited the Woodland Library and came up with the great idea of building a wall to isolate the sound. And Carol has asked him for drawings. So we are also going to cost out acoustic glass, because if the wall were made from acoustic glass, none of the visibility would be compromised at Woodland, and it would mitigate the noise carrying from the children's area over to the adult area. And that might be a really wonderful fix for the noise issue. We essentially have the Woodland branch expansion on hold for the moment. And that concludes the report for the infrastructure subcommittee. Carol?
You want to mention the issue about the back door and how it scrapes.
Oh, yeah, I thought we'd just bring that up to Bryant because he had his maintenance guy deal with that, and it's just an adjustment, Bryant. Okay. The awareness subcommittee, we met with Bryant. We are working on what ads for Lolly. We're doing LinkedIn Learning in May, which would be out next week, as Carol mentioned. Bryant talked about a software coding program for kids that will be available for the summer. So that will be our ad for June. It's called Code Combat. It's available now, I understand, Bryant, right? They've just released it.
I believe in April was when they started it. So it is available now already for people to use.
And it's for kids 9 and up. In July, we're going to feature Libby with an emphasis on its utility while traveling. So you can load up all your books and there they are, you take them with you. Just like, like a Kindle, except you don't have to buy them. And then Bryant gave us an update on the pods in the main library. We're going to advertise those in August. We were going to feature those in the ad in August, but they have a 20-week delivery estimate. So that's gonna push those out, but that's gonna be something really exciting. And we're continuing to work on the color issues with the town crier, but that's the report for the infrastructure. I'm sorry, for the awareness subcommittee. Carol or Sharvari, any additions?
No.
Okay. Questions?
Yeah, this is Julie. I just had a question on the wall that's going in. Would that essentially cut the Woodland Library in half?
It would run from the entrance to the patio door, to where the patio door is.
Mm-hmm. And so the small children would be in their small children's area, And then the students who are studying, like, grade school and middle school, they would get the tables. So I'm wondering where the adults area would be.
Actually, the students that do their homework and study and have tutors seem to be all on the children's side.
Okay, so there are going to be tables over there for them, and
There are tables. There are a whole bunch of tables over there, and the tutors sit over there with the kids.
Mhm.
The idea would be that there would be a door.
Mhm.
You could walk into what is now the adult section with it has a card table with 4 chairs. It has some big lounge chairs, and then it has that bar up on the window, and there's stools that you sit there.
If a student wants to study quietly, will they be allowed to go into that area?
Oh, sure, I would think so. I mean, I would
Like a quiet area.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would think so. Bryant, I mean, that would make complete sense that they would be able to take advantage of that space.
I would imagine so.
But it just would provide a mechanism, a means for being able to have an area that's quiet.
Yeah.
versus the chaos with the kids.
That's perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. So Julie, would you like to report on futures?
There's really been no action. I did reach out to Cindy to see if we could meet about talking about the future library. I could meet with Cindy about that, but that's really all the action that I've taken personally.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And Pierre, any update from services?
Brief. I mean, we met with Bryant. Julie and I met with Bryant. We talked about the pods, the value of the number of seats and where we're at with that. And it's clear, the library staff is really focused, and rightly so right now, on getting the Friends situated in the new area. So that's really the focus. We did do a review of data that had come from a survey during the pandemic, which was sort of eye-opening. One fact was eye-opening only, and that's the popularity of the drive-up service and how now it's just literally dried up. And Bryant maybe can address that, but there's been a lot of just radical changes now that the library is open again, that people might not be totally aware of. Also, the Book Dash service that was put in place was actually a lot less popular than one would have thought, in terms of, at least statistically, right? It was less popular. Whether it was or not is another, I don't mean to, put a judgment on that. So those were 2 little factoids from these things. And what's great is that it goes right into the survey that's ongoing right now and the town halls that are being held. And as the library and the system really, like everybody else, tries to figure out what's next. I mean, it's sort of I don't want to say it's exciting, but it is, really new ground, I think. And on the services side is sort of cut across that. So that's sort of what we talked about. Julie, Bryant, if you want to add to that.
Go
Go ahead, Julie.
I was going to say there was one small safety issue, and we just escalated that to the city manager. Apparently, we have a walkway in front of the library, and some people are turning into the walkway as opposed to into the driveways. And so apparently it's happened often enough where I felt it was appropriate to raise it directly with the city manager as a safety issue. And so I believe, have they taken any action, Bryant?
Same, but he is, I know, in talks with his engineers to figure out the best way to kind of make that clear that you're not supposed to turn into it. I would have thought the crosswalk made it clear you're not supposed to turn into it, but it doesn't stop everybody.
No, the crosswalk is far more visible than the actual automobile entrance. So I think people assume that's the driveway.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, good for you.
So we're trying to solve that problem. So keep our librarians safe there.
Wonderful. Wow. How about the book drop? How is, the boxes for the book drop? How is that going?
Again, I have not heard updates from Gabe. We did pass that along to him, and again, he was going to take a look with his traffic engineer to figure out the best place to place the box at Los Altos. I think there's not that many options at Woodland, so I think once he gets back to us, it's just a matter of making sure that we're okay with it. And I think where the commissioners had proposed to put it at Los Altos makes a lot of sense to me. So hopefully that's what they'll go with.
Okay.
Brian, can we go ahead and buy the one for Woodland? Because I don't think there's any doubt as to where that would go, and I don't know why that would wait.
Steve, with this, I'm assuming this would be a library purchase. That wouldn't be city.
So yeah, what we've done in other locations that have been interested in pursuing this as well, although none has been installed yet, we have purchased the book drop, the physical drop itself, but the city is in charge of that space, so they have to determine where, and it sounds like we already know where that will be. But we do need approval from them and kind of like a project plan to get that going. So I think we're just waiting to hear back from Gabe to see when we can start that project and start moving on that.
Because if that's what we need, I'm willing to reach out to Gabe, at least with regard to Woodland. I mean, I do think it's going to take a little more time just to make sure everybody's comfortable with the downtown location, but it actually might help us move forward if people see the advantages at Woodland.
That makes sense. That's great.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just wanted to address something that Commissioner Bedard brought up about the curbside service. So that was something that was indicated as being very popular in the survey. And we found that curious because at the time, which was obviously, a few months later when we got the results, but the curbside service itself was not being utilized as much as we would have thought. So by the time we started opening up sections of the building in that iteration of service, the curbside service itself just started dropping away. So the popularity was not what we had anticipated it would be, and it just was not what it was early on in the pandemic. So, as that kind of situation evolved and we opened up lobby service and then full building, just kind of the demand for it just kind of disappeared. That's what we saw. And then the other thing was the Book Dash service. It is something we're still seeing demand for. It is not something that a lot of people make use of, but the ones that do are extremely appreciative of it. And we've been building capacity on that slowly but surely. So that service is highly valued, and we do continue to look at ways to make it more well-known and publicized. So we think that's part of the issue.
Are you going back to making it available really only to people who are disabled? Or, I mean, I think during the pandemic, it was my understanding that you made it available to people who were just, very afraid of leaving their house because of COVID. Will you change the parameters of who the service is available for now?
That's still being discussed. So right now we are still seeing many individuals kind of uncomfortable to come back into the library. So that's still a part of the service, and whether we'll change that has yet to be seen. We just need to plan that out.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, any more questions? Pierre?
It just seems like a lot of affinity with the Senior Commission and Book Dash. Just pointing that out to, any commissioners who may be serving on both.
Well, who could that be? Thank you, Pierre. That's also something perhaps that we can take down as a note for our awareness committee to discuss whether that should be revisited as a add to make for awareness. Okay, so I believe we're at the point of discussing future agenda items. Does anyone have any items they would like to put on a future agenda? Sharvari?
I wanted to find out some more about the bookmobile, the GoGo Biblio, its route, and maybe try and understand, should I go to Brian and find that out, or is it available on a map or on the website, or where?
So I can tell you there's no real like route or anything that we're doing. It's an outreach tool that we use when we visit, it could be anything from visiting schools to visiting a senior care facility, or in this case, farmers market, or whenever there's a larger event happening. Originally, we were planning to take it over to the Bunny Bound event. Unfortunately, it was raining that morning, so we pulled back on that. So it's more of a tool that we use to kind of draw attention to the library.
Okay, so it's not a circulating bookmobile.
Yeah, no, it is not a bookmobile. That's that's Amethyst department at the main branch. They do have routes that they go out to serve at unincorporated areas, and kind of basically folks, I think, and maybe Steve can comment on this a little bit more, but like basically folks who are paying taxes to the library system, but they're kind of situated
far away,
or have trouble getting to the library. We want to make sure that they have access to the resources as well.
Yeah, just to add on to what Brian said, there is a schedule for that you can view online if you're interested, but it does visit a lot of our community locations as well. So it's not just the unincorporated spaces. It's a lot of our locations that are identified as being places where people might have difficulty getting to the library.
Okay, and where will I find that?
I can send you a link if you'd like.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
This is Julie. One of the things we had talked about in the services, we touched on it briefly. We talked about outreach. And one of the things that would be really interesting, a group that would be really interesting to try to identify, are new members of our community, people who move into our community.
Oh.
They move in, they buy houses. They're spending a lot of money right now on houses. And it would be great to see this, for them to see the services. We have a new family down there, multi-generational family. So there's a lot of different interests, I think, in that family, but it would be great. And I'm not sure if that's something we can partner with the county on, because I know that the county has, go ahead, Pierre raised his hand. The county has some information on who's new.
Thanks for bringing that up. Oh, I mean, one idea was putting information in people's tax bills. I mean, it is a county.
Be like a welcome wagon for the I don't know, maybe I'm dating myself, but there used to be a welcome wagon.
Yes, you are.
Not a welcome.
Welcome to the library wagon.
Yeah, welcome to
That would be such a nice idea, and really so inclusive. That would be very nice.
And we don't mean to put all of this on the county's shoulders. We just thought maybe there was an opportunity to partner, but
I wonder if we could find out from maybe one of the local realtors if there's some database that they have on, houses. I mean, there has to be a database. There is a database on houses that have sold. Doesn't necessarily mean people have moved into them, but
so I don't know how it works with Los Altos, but with Los Altos Hills, many, many years ago, when we were new, there was a letter from the town saying that, there is you're welcome to meet the mayor, or come and see the town hall. There'll be some tea and cupcakes or that kind of thing. And you could meet with other people who are new and get to join groups. Or I don't know if I actually went, but maybe they're the people. The town is the one that knows.
Freddie?
Yes.
Are you referring to the list of sales that appears in the town crier every week?
There is that. That's pretty old, though, I think.
I'm just wondering if we should agendize this because we're talking about
Yeah, you're right.
Maybe it's useful because it's old and the people already moved in.
Wait a minute. Julie's got a point. We need to agendize this before we talk about it. So this is definitely something for the agenda. Thank you, Julie.
Sure.
We have smart people on this group.
We just want to solve the problem. Let's go.
I'd like to add, and Vice Mayor Meadows did indicate she was willing to be on the agenda, but I'd like to add her to the agenda to talk about the survey
Yes,
results,
yes.
because we want to look at them as, in particular, how they relate to the information from the library. That would be the focus for that agenda item and for her discussion. Anybody else have an item they'd like to add to the agenda? Okay,
Just
Um,
the feedback on future meetings, whether,
yes.
oh my
that's
goodness,
right.
the virtual hybrid,
Yeah. The form of
that would be the last one.
future meeting. Form of future meetings. Okay.
If
Pierre?
we're meeting after the NCLA meeting, I'd like to agendize the results of that presentation.
We should be, because I think she said they were trying to do it in May.
29th,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Okay,
if it makes sense.
absolutely. Well, we can always just remove it if it doesn't. So NCLA, discuss NCLA meeting. Okay. So we have 4 items for the agenda: outreach to new members of the community, the survey results, the form of future meetings, and a discussion of NCLA meeting. Anything else? All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great evening. Have a great Mother's Day for those of you.
Thank you. so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Bryant.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Good night.
Night.
Bye.